If you haven't watched the bulk actions or the custom fields and folders lessons yet, you may want to go check those out before you bring in your import. It's important to add custom fields when you're bringing in an import, and I'll show you a quick little example of that here, but you are going to want to have a full understanding of custom fields and folders along with the bulk actions as well. What I want to show you here is how to export and import contacts. When you click on the Contacts tab and you land on your Smart Listen All, you're going to see a list of all the contacts. Now, right now, if you're brand new, you may have a few. Maybe you did an import earlier, or you brought in a few contacts already and you want to know how to export them. Exporting is considered a bulk action. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this box right here. And when I select the contact name, again, you'll want to watch the full bulk action training. But what we're doing here is we're looking for the export option. When you select export, it's going to say you want to export these contacts. We're going to say yes. It's going to export contacts. And then it's going to show under my check progress, which is going to show in my bulk actions. You'll see my export here. I'll easily be able to go right to statistics, click on this little arrow, and it's going to download my exported contacts. We can select save, and there they are. Now, what we want to spend a little bit more time on here is importing, because if you're just getting started with the system and you have a list of contacts somewhere else, you're going to want to bring them in. Remember, you get out of it what you put into it. So whether you're adding a contact from your mobile phone, your desktop, or doing an import, you're getting data and starting to build up your list to help you with your sales, your service, and even your support, to helping you get, grow, and keeping your customers. And what we're going to do is we want to import a list. The import button, which is going to be your important button right here, is going to be right here, import. Now, before we jump in this import, I want to open up a CSV document. You're going to want to know the objects that you're importing. Now, you could be importing contacts or you could be importing opportunities. We talk more about importing opportunities when we get into the opportunities course. Today, we're going to focus on importing those contacts to get your data into the system. So we're going to go ahead and select contacts. We're going to go ahead and select next. Now, it's going to ask you to upload your file. You want a CSV file. So you're going to want to open up a CSV file. Now, if you're like, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do, uploading your files. Before uploading your files, you can make sure your file is ready to import by downloading the sample file. We're going to go ahead and save and download this sample file. Now, we've got a sample file and we've got the contacts that we want to import. This is going to be my sample file right here, and this is going to be my mock data for the import. I've picked 100 mock data to bring in the import right here. And you'll see I just have a very simple first name, last name, email, their gender, IP address, which we won't need. We can go ahead and delete that. And we're going to want their phone number. Now, what's interesting is in the system, we know we have a first name, last name, email, but do we have a gender field? No, we don't. So we want to make sure that we put that gender field here. So this would be considered a custom field. Let me go ahead and minimize this. And you'll see right here on this sample import, you're going to see the phone, email, first name, last name, business, source, additional. This is additional emails. This would be any additional phone numbers, any notes, and any tags. So I like the sample because this is a great place to start. Now, you can do a couple of different things. You could take your data and you could open up your CSV and you could copy and paste that under the appropriate columns. Very simple, just like that. Phone, email, first name, business name, source, email, or you can go ahead and keep your data right here and just import this. Either way, we're showing you how the first row needs to be the title of what you're wanting to bring in. This happens with most data imports, is your very first row is the titles of what you're trying to bring in. Now, if in your data you have something, like in this one, we have gender, but over here we don't, if for any reason, say you had a special or a customized type of field, let me go ahead and narrow this down and narrow this down. This is where you're going to want to go into your settings, go into your custom fields, and add that custom field. My recommendation is to add any custom fields first. So we'll go ahead and go to settings. Let's go into custom fields and let me do a search to see if I have a gender, and I don't. I'm going to add a field. We're just going to add a field, and let's go to my list. We'll just say, let's just leave it blank because we can just type it in. So I'll just leave it as a single line. It's going to look just like this. And when I do a single line, that's just going to bring in whatever's on my form. If I had specific drop downs I wanted to put here, or if I just wanted to do a checkbox, male or female, or whatever I wanted to put, I could put those here. But let's say I have a bunch of different fields, so it might be best to just put a single line for our gender, and then we're going to have it go to the contacts. The placeholder will be gender, and we'll go ahead and select save. And I'm going to go ahead and move this gender and organize this to my group, to the contacts, to the contact folder. Then it will show up every time I see contacts. So let's go ahead and go back. And I'm going to go into my contacts, and right here, let's open up Free to Friday. And right here, now that I created that field, which we go through all in the details, you're going to see right here, the gender field. This is what we're looking at in our import here. One of the things that I always like to do when I'm creating an import, whether you utilize the first one or the one that they're using, is I like to add any tags and any notes, just like the ones you saw for them. So for tag, I'm going to say customer import. Since it's my first time to bring in the customers, I want to put customer import, so that way I can know everybody that came in from an import from my old system. Now, another tag you could use is, let's say you're using a payment processor like PayPal or Square or even Stripe, and you want to import from Stripe or import from QuickBooks. You could put a tag that says import QuickBooks. You could also do the same tag as your notes. That way it'll show how the customer came in. Remember, activity is going to show and your contact's going to build, but by tagging it and adding a note helps you understand when you did it. Now you can even go into tagging and putting in a date. Customer import, the date of the import, if you want that on your tag. I'm just going to put customer import because this is going to be my first customer import. And it makes it really simple when it comes to adding a single tag. Now remember, I'm going to create a smart list off this when we bring in the import, so all my imports will show up and the notes will show up on the date of the import. We're going to do File, Save As, and let's make sure we do it as a CSV. We're going to save it, and there it is. All right, I'm going to go ahead and minimize that, and let's go ahead and go back into our contacts. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into the import. We're going to start the import by selecting the contacts, and you'll see right here the previous imports. These can be found in bulk actions. I'm going to show you where this import will show here as soon as we're completed. We're going to upload the CSV we did. Now what we want to do is choose how to import the contacts. Let's go ahead and attach this first. We're going to go to my mock data import. There it is, import for CSV. We're going to choose how to import the contacts. It says create and update contacts. We can create a contact or we can just update contacts. So maybe you already put in a set of contacts, but you had more data that was in, let's say, your Square PayPal. Well, you might want to create and update contacts, or if you already have them all in, just select update contact. With this being your first time into the CRM, I recommend creating those contacts. That's going to bring all the new people in. If you do have some data in, go ahead and select create and update contact. That way you can see if you have any duplicates, and it'll update that contact to make sure it's all set up. We're going to go ahead and create contacts. And then it says find existing contacts based on email then phone, or you could select phone and email. We showed you how to set these up as well in your business settings, and you can change that in your settings as well. Before we select next, you'll notice step 1 was to select the object. Step 2 is now to upload the object. Step 3 is mapping the object. Now we need to map up the data that we had on our spreadsheet. So I just showed you the spreadsheet that we had. We had ID, first name, last name, email, gender, phone, field 7, which was a pending, tag, and notes. So let's go ahead and take a look and see how this is going to come in. You'll see the column here. This is the preview. This is the status pending. And it did pending because it doesn't recognize this ID. So on this particular one, we don't need to put it anywhere. So I'm going to leave it as pending. There's no set field that I want to put that in. That's already been created. On this one, this was our first name. And keep in mind, that was from, let me show you this real quick. This is coming in from the first column right here. First name, last name, email, gender, phone, tag, and note. This is where it's pulling that in, is from the very first row. So the first one is pending because we don't have anything. The first name is going to go to the contact first name, last name, email. It found my custom field gender. It found my phone. There's no field for this, but it found the tags and it found the notes. Now, for any reason it didn't find what it needed to, this is where you would select the arrow arrow and select what field that you want to put it in. Now remember, if it's a custom field, go create those first so they show up here. And make sure if it's a custom field like we did gender, just be sure to put that in your worksheet right here like we did as gender. So make sure your titles of your custom fields are coming in to the title of the custom field that you created. And there we have it. We are ready. Now we can say don't import data in two unmapped columns. What are the unmapped columns? That's this column that says pending and this column that says pending. I'm going to check this box. I do not need to have this imported. We're going to go ahead and select next. And here it is. Now that we finished the mapping columns, now it's time to verify and finalize. So right here it says create a smart list for new contacts created. I like how it does this. So I definitely want to create a smart list because I want to make sure that I know all the data that came in. So I'll have a smart list for this until I want to organize this data in any other particular way. I can add imported contacts to a workflow. This is a great example. So if you have hey, we have a brand new product or service email that you want to go out, we're making sure our information is clean and updated. Wanted to make sure that you opt in. You could create a workflow and add that workflow right here. You can add tags to imported contacts by selecting this and selecting the tag. We already selected add tags and we did imported, so we don't need to add to that tag. We could say this is a list of our customers. So for example, if you didn't put the tag on the list because you weren't sure, you could add a tag that says customers or leads or open house. Whatever it is that you're importing, and the list is where you would want to add tags to the imported contacts. We already have the tag mapped, so that's going to come in and automatically map that tag as customer import. So we're going to leave it as create smart list. Again, if I didn't add the tag to the column, this is where I would add the tag. You're going to see the document right here. This is the document we're importing. These are those fields that we mapped. And now we have all the information. Now there's one quick thing right here when it comes to verifying data that's really important. And that is this bottom part right here. We want to make sure that you are covered. You're not spamming people. So make sure that you confirm that all contacts in this import have consented to hear from you. I've previously contacted them within the past year, and this list is not from a third party. This is very important. And again, this is rules and guidelines when it comes to spamming both text and email. So you want to make sure that you do have permission to put them into your database and that you have contacted them within the last year. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select start import. And here goes my bulk import. Now, where did that go? Remember I told you we had a bulk actions, which we have a whole lesson showing you how bulk actions work. But when I click on the bulk actions and I go to the bulk action screen, you're going to see mock data, my import, it's processing, the user, created date, and completed date. And right here is where you'll see your stats. Be sure that if you're doing an import and it's a really big list, give it time to complete first. You want to look for the completed green before you check the statistics. Now, when I select the statistics, it's going to say success and errors. You can download the statistics as well and go in and you can fix the errors or the success rate. And right here under bulk actions, remember you're looking for the completed before you check the statistics to see who came in and who didn't. You want to check the statistics to make sure that you have the data and information correct. Now I'm going to show you something that's really important. Let's say we had a duplicated contact, a first name and a last name. You might have 44 success and 56 errors. Now how would that happen? If you had the same email in your system and you said do not do duplicates, it may pull from that. So you may have errors that do not allow duplicates, which means it's already in there. The most common errors that you would find could be an improper CSV formatting, specifically mismatched headers or the first row, missing required fields like name, email, or phone, or an invalid phone number, especially characters or letters. Other common issues include duplicate records, unmapped custom fields, and file sizes. So you want to be sure to look at that. We might have some mix-matched data, in which case you'd want to go into your import to see what's mix and matched. Remember, you could have duplicate names, and if you set up in your settings that you did not want duplicates, you could have a lot of duplicates on your worksheet. So you could have Johnny in here, let's say 3 or 4 different times, first name, last name, or the same email in here 3 or 4 different times. Remember, that is when you selected over here. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. If you selected settings and you went into your business profile and you selected down here do not allow duplicate contacts. If you have those duplicate contacts, that's the most common import error. It's not that they're wrong or that you have an error on your import. It's just that the system said we're not importing these because they're duplicates. So be sure to check this. If you're allowing duplicates, have this turned on, but you'll want to double check your worksheet along with your import to make sure that all of your imports showed up properly. Now, this is why I create a smart list, because right here, all it does is record my bulk action. I put in my bulk action. This is the day it was created, and these are the statistics right here. 44 success, 56 with an error. Now, over here, if I go to actions, this is where I can view the details, show imported, or revert. I'm going to say show details. This is the details, shows the import, the action label. And then over here, if I select show imported, we can click show imported. It's going to take me back to all my imported names. Now, remember, I created a smart list for my imports. So right here, this is going to be my smart list. So when I go to my smart list, we're going to see that I have everybody here. Now, for fun, I want to see how many are on here. So I'm going to check. So 44 were brought in. So we could have had a different phone number or something that was mismatched, or like I said, duplicates, because I said do not allow duplicates. So 44 came in. But this is why I really recommend creating a smart list, because then you can go through and see who's in, who's not, and you can double check it with your bulk records right here by selecting the stats. And this is where you would go and look at the identifier to see what's wrong. So right here, you're going to see all, success, the error, and the warning. Here's the error, and it'll show right here, could not read the phone number, could not read the phone number, could not read the phone number. So all of these have phone number issues, so it could not bring the phone number in. So once you see your errors, you can easily go back into your worksheet and find the phone numbers, fix those in your worksheet, and bring them in. Now you can download this list as well if you want to cross compare the identifier of the email and have a report of the error code. In this particular case, they couldn't read the phone number. So that leads me to believe that I need to go back to my original worksheet and make sure the phone number is in the correct format and the data is correct. And that's why I recommend when you're doing any import to go ahead and do the import and grab this downloadable example. So that way you can open up this example and do it in the exact format that it's supposed to be done. This is the format that they want for a phone number. For US, they need area code, and you'll see that's the format it should be. So if the format doesn't have a 1+ or whatever the country code is, then you will have errors. This would be something to look at if you forgot to put a 1 in front of your number. So if you have issues, I recommend grabbing the downloadable file option and copying and pasting in the correct format on your CSV so the import is flawless. You can easily re-import all of the contacts with the correct phone number. And then when you go to bring in the new import right here, make sure that you've selected the correct information once you've uploaded. Right here, instead of doing create contacts, do create and update contacts, or just do update contacts. But you'll want to do this one or this one when you're fixing those errors. Creating a contact creates a brand new contact like the first one we did. But once you fixed, I recommend using create and update contacts. That way, if you missed one, it'll bring it into the system correctly. And that's how you do an import. Be sure to follow the wizard. It's going to help walk you through importing your data. And be sure to create that smart list when you do your import. You can easily create a new smart list for the import or rename it to the tag import as well. And you'll see everything's come in here the way it should be. And under smart list, if you want to change once the data's been brought in, just go to manage smart list and you can change your data here by editing the smart list name, and you can call this import, or let's say QuickBooks import. You can use it by the import tag you want, the QuickBooks import, and you can remove this little date, and then you'd have all the data that was in that data for that import. With a great use case for this, let's say you're a realtor and you do an open house. We've been to the open houses and looked at open houses at some point. Usually fill out your first name, your last name, and an email when you visit a property to take the tour. As a realtor, we can take that information and know exactly what type of home you're interested in. This allows you to market to that person who showed up to that open house who's looking for that specific type of home. It could have been a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, in which case now you can say, they came to this open house, this was my imported list, and now these are the people I want to market to who are looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. There's so many use cases that you can do. This is just one example. Let's get out of the software what you put into it and go ahead and get those contacts imported. Just remember, you just go to contacts, go to import, and follow the wizard. To export, just go to contacts. Be sure to bulk select the contacts, and just to confirm, if you're set to 20 contacts a page versus 100, make sure you select all of the contacts that you want to export and select the export button. Whether you want to export or import, it's easy to get to right here in your contacts feature.